The rain hit like a confession I never saw coming, pounding the windshield of my beat-up Honda as I pulled into the driveway of the house that wasn't supposed to change everything. Elena's smile through the storm door was warm, too warm, pulling me inside before the thunder could swallow my doubts whole. In that split second, as her hand brushed mine, soft, lingering just a beat too long, I felt the ground shift, like the secret she'd buried for decades was clawing its way to the surface, ready to drown us both. I wiped the rain from my face, my sneakers squelching on the polished hardwood floors of her new place in the quiet suburbs of Seattle. It was one of those modern craftsman homes, all clean lines and big windows that let in the gray Pacific Northwest sky, but today it felt like a stage set for something raw and unspoken. Elena, Mrs. Harper to me for years, but she'd insisted on just Elena since Sarah and I graduated high school, handed me a towel with that effortless grace she always had, her auburn hair tied back in a loose ponytail that made her look younger than her 45 years. "Alex, you look like a drowned rat," she teased, her voice light but her eyes. God, her eyes held storms of their own. Sarah, my best friend since we were kids trading Pokemon cards in 3rd grade, had texted me to come check out the house while she was stuck in Portland for her job interview. "Mom's finally settling in after Dad's mess," she'd said. Mess. That was one way to put it. Mr. Harper, Tom, had left 2 years ago for some corporate gig in Chicago, or at least that's what the family line was. Whispers in our circle said it was more. Affairs, empty promises, the kind of quiet implosion that leaves scars no one talks about. Elena had sold the old family home in Bellevue last month, bought this one sight unseen, and now here I was, 22 and freshly out of community college, playing real estate appraiser for a woman who'd always felt more like a second mom than anything else. We toured the place like it was a museum exhibit. The kitchen gleamed with quartz counters and stainless steel appliances, sunlight filtering through the rain-streaked panes to dance on the island where she'd set out fresh scones and coffee. "I baked these this morning," she said, her fingers grazing the plate as she passed it to me. "Thought you'd like the blueberry ones. Sarah says you still can't resist them." I laughed, but it caught in my throat. How did she know that? Sarah must have told her, right? But the way Elena watched me bite into the warm crust, her lips curving in quiet satisfaction, made my pulse stutter. Upstairs, the master bedroom was a sanctuary of soft blues and whites, a king-sized bed piled with throw pillows that screamed fresh start. "This is where I'll finally breathe again," she murmured, almost to herself, as we stood in the doorway. The en-suite bathroom had a clawfoot tub that looked like it could hold a lifetime of worries, and I caught myself imagining her there, steam rising, eyes closed against the world. "Stop it, Alex." She's Sarah's mom. 45 to 22. World apart. We ended in the backyard, a modest patch of green edged by evergreens, the rain picking up as we stepped onto the covered patio. Elena leaned against the railing, her sundress fluttering in the breeze, and for a moment, she looked lost, not in the house, but in something deeper. "It's perfect, isn't it?" she asked, turning to me with that vulnerability cracking through her poise. "After everything." I needed walls that didn't echo with ghosts. I nodded, words failing me. The air thickened with the scent of wet earth and pine, thunder rumbling like a warning. And then, as if the sky decided to force our hands, the wind whipped the patio cover's edge loose, spraying us both. Elena laughed, a real, unguarded sound, and grabbed my wrist. "Come on, let's make a run for it." But instead of dashing inside, she pulled me out into the yard, the rain soaking us in seconds, her hand warm and sure in mine. We stood there, drenched and breathless under the downpour, the new house looming behind us like a promise half-kept. Her hair plastered to her neck, droplets tracing paths down her collarbone, and I couldn't look away. "Alex," she said, her voice barely above the roar of the storm, "there's something I need to tell you. Something I've hidden for so long it feels like it's carved into my bones." My heart slammed against my ribs. The world narrowed to her face, the rain blurring the lines between us. "What is it?" I whispered, stepping closer, the space between our bodies charged like the lightning cracking overhead. She took a shaky breath, her eyes locking onto mine, dark, searching, alive with a fire I'd never seen. I'm not who you think I am. Not anymore. And maybe not ever. Her fingers tightened on mine, and in that touch, I felt the weight of years unraveling. The secret wasn't just hers. It was pulling me under too. The rain kept falling, relentless, as Elena's words hung between us, a bridge over the chasm I'd never known existed. She led me to the old oak tree at the yard's edge, its branches a natural canopy that offered scant shelter, and there, with water pooling at our feet, she began to unravel the threads of her life. It started before Sarah was born, she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Tom and we were young, in love the way people are when they think that's enough. College sweethearts in Boston, dreaming of white picket fences and 2.5 kids. But even then, there was this shadow inside me, a pull toward something softer, something that scared me to my core. I leaned against the rough bark, my soaked shirt clinging like a second skin, listening as if her story was the only sound in the storm. Elena had always been the picture of suburban perfection. PTA president, yoga instructor on weekends, the mom who baked cookies shaped like stars for school events. But now, in the gray light of the afternoon, she was peeling back those layers, revealing a woman who'd spent decades folding herself into shapes that didn't fit. There was a girl, she continued, her gaze distant, fixed on the rain-lashed leaves. Her name was Lila. We met in a poetry class at BU. Me, straight-A pre-med, her, this wild art major with tattoos snaking up her arms and a laugh that could stop traffic. She saw me, Alex. Really saw me, in ways Tom never could. We'd stay up late in her dorm, reading Whitman and Plath, her fingers brushing mine as she passed the book. One night, after too much cheap wine, she kissed me. And God, it was like waking up. Her words painted pictures in my mind: Boston winters, steam-fogged windows, two young women tangled in sheets that smelled of patchouli and possibility. But the storm in her eyes told me it didn't end in fairy tales. We kept it secret, of course. 1987 wasn't kind to girls like us. AIDS crisis raging, Reagan in office preaching family values while half the world was dying. Lila wanted to run away to San Francisco, join the marches, live loud. But I was terrified. My parents were devout Catholics. Tom's family owned half the mills in Lowell. So I chose the safe path. Broke her heart. Broke mine. She paused, wiping rain from her face, but it was tears I saw mingling there. I reached out, my hand on her arm, feeling the goosebumps rise under my palm. You don't have to. I do, she cut in, fierce now. Because hiding it ate me alive. Married Tom a year later, had Sarah when I was 24. For years, I convinced myself it was enough. The minivan, the mortgage, the Christmas cards. But every time I saw a woman who reminded me of Lila, it was like a knife twist. I'd volunteer at the shelter, teach yoga to survivors of abuse, anything to feel like I was giving back what I'd lost. And then Tom. He started drinking more after the layoffs in '09. The fights got ugly. He'd accuse me of being distant, cold. If only he knew. The thunder rolled closer, vibrating through the ground, and Elena stepped nearer, our shoulders brushing. Her scent, jasmine shampoo mixed with rain, wrapped around me, intoxicating. 2 years ago, when he left, it wasn't just the job. He found letters, old ones from Lila, tucked in a box in the attic. She'd written after we split, begging me to reconsider. Tom read them, put it all together, called me every name in the book, freak, liar, pervert. Said he'd take Sarah if I ever breathed a word. So I let him go, sold the house, started over here. But the truth? It's been rotting inside me, Alex. And you. You've always been so kind, so open. Sarah talks about you like you're the sister she never had, but I see more. I see you. My breath caught. The way she said it, low and urgent, sent heat pooling in my chest despite the chill. I'd known I was gay since high school. Awkward crushes on girls' soccer captains, late-night Google searches in the glow of my laptop. But coming out to Sarah had been easy. She hugged me and said, "About time you caught up." My family in Tacoma? Less so, but they loved me anyway. Elena, though, she was a different story. Forbidden fruit in the shape of a woman who'd bandaged my scraped knees and cheered at my track meets. "Why tell me now?" I asked, my voice barely audible over the patter of drops on leaves. She turned fully to me, her hand cupping my cheek, thumb tracing the line of my jaw. It was electric, that touch, tender, testing. "Because this house is my fresh start. And you're standing in it, looking at me like I might not shatter. I hid for years to protect everyone, Sarah, Tom, myself. But in this rain, with you, I feel alive again."
"Tell me to stop, Alex."
"Tell me I'm crazy."
I couldn't.
Instead, I leaned in, our lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of salt and storm, soft at first, then deepening with the hunger of secrets finally freed. Her arms wrapped around me, pulling me close, and for those endless minutes under the oak, the world was just us, two women bridging decades, finding home in the chaos. But as the rain eased to a drizzle, reality seeped back in. Sarah's text buzzed in my pocket. "How's Mom's place?" Spill. Guilt twisted in my gut. What was this? A moment of madness, or the start of something that could tear everything apart? Elena pulled back, her forehead resting against mine, breath ragged. "We can't pretend this didn't happen." "No." I agreed, heart pounding. "But what now?" She smiled, sad and radiant. "Now, we figured out. One truth at a time." We stumbled back to the house, dripping trails across the patio, but the tour was over. Instead, we brewed tea in the kitchen, wrapped in oversized towels from her linen closet, and talked, not just about Lila, but about the fragments of lives we'd both patched together. Elena confessed how she'd channeled her hidden self into her yoga practice, teaching classes at the local studio where women came to reclaim their bodies after loss or betrayal. "It's the one place I could be honest without words," she said, stirring honey into her mug. "Feel the stretch, the release. It's like exhaling a breath you've held for 20 years. I shared my own scraps. The girlfriend in college who'd ghosted me after I wouldn't go public, the job at the coffee shop that paid the bills but left me dreaming of graphic design gigs in the city. I always envied you and Sarah," I admitted, tracing the steam from my cup. "This perfect family unit. Turns out we were all just faking it till we made it." Her laugh was soft, healing. Imperfectly perfect, maybe. As the afternoon waned, the sun breaking through clouds in golden shafts, Elena showed me the finished basement, a home gym with mirrors that reflected our towel-clad forms, side by side. "Space for two," she said casually, but her eyes dared me to imagine mornings here, sweat-slicked and unhurried. Dinner was impromptu. Pasta from her pantry, tossed with pesto and cherry tomatoes from the fridge, eaten at the island as jazz played low from a Bluetooth speaker. We talked about Sarah's interview, nervous excitement for her marketing role, and my stalled portfolio. But under it all simmered the kiss, a current pulling us closer with every shared glance. When I stood to rinse plates, Elena came up behind me, her hands on my hips, chin resting on my shoulder. "Stay the night," she whispered. "The guest room's all yours."
Or not.
Temptation warred with caution. Sarah could call any minute. But the house felt like ours in that moment. New, unclaimed. "Okay," I breathed. But slow. We owe Sarah that much. Upstairs, the guest room was cozy, with a quilt handmade by Elena's mother and a window overlooking the now-quiet yard. She lingered in the doorway, twisting the hem of her robe. "Good night, Alex. Thank you for listening."
For
everything. I crossed the space between us, pressing a chaste kiss to her cheek. "Thank you for trusting me." Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with rain and revelations. Morning light filtered in, carrying the scent of coffee. Downstairs, Elena was at the stove, flipping pancakes, her hair loose and wild. Sarah called, she said as I entered, sliding a plate my way. She's staying another day. Traffic's hell. Said to tell you not to burn the house down without her. Relief and regret twisted inside me.
More time.
Dangerous time. We ate on the patio, the air crisp and clean post-storm, birdsong filling the silence. Conversation flowed to lighter things, favorite Seattle hikes, the best indie bands, but her foot nudged mine under the table, a secret Morse code. By noon, we were in the backyard, Elena unrolling yoga mats she'd stashed in the shed. "Join me?" she asked, her smile inviting. I hesitated. My flexibility was laughable, but stripped to tank and shorts, mirroring her poses. Downward dog had me wobbling, but her gentle corrections, hands guiding my hips, sent sparks through me. "Breathe into it," she murmured, her breath warm on my neck. "Let go." We flowed through sun salutations, bodies sinking in a rhythm that felt ancient, intimate. Sweat beaded on her skin, tracing paths down her arms, and I lost myself watching the curve of her back, the strength in her thighs. When we collapsed into child's pose, foreheads to mats, she crawled over, her hand on my back. "You're a natural," she lied, but her touch said truth. The afternoon blurred into touches that lingered, brushing hair from my face, fingers interlacing as we walked the neighborhood, pointing out quirky lawn gnomes and for sale signs. Seattle's drizzle returned, light and teasing, but we didn't run. Instead, we ducked into a corner cafe for lattes, huddled in a booth where her knee pressed against mine under the table. "Tell me about your first love," she said, stirring foam. I flushed, recounting Jamie from high school, the stolen kisses behind the bleachers, the heartbreak when her parents shipped her to boarding school. Elena listened, her expression a mix of empathy and heat. "Sounds like fire," she said. "Mine was Lila, but after. There were others. Fleeting. A summer fling in Provincetown, a coworker in my 30s who taught me to dance salsa. Each one a reminder of what I denied myself. Jealousy flickered, irrational and sharp, but it fueled something bolder. Back at the house, as evening fell, I pulled her into the living room, the space still half unpacked with boxes of books and photos. We sank onto the couch, a bottle of red wine between us, and the stories turned to now. What-ifs whispered like prayers. Her hand found my thigh, tracing circles that made me shiver. "Alex, I don't want to rush you," she said, but her eyes begged otherwise. I set the glass down, straddling her lap in a move that surprised us both. "Then don't." Our kiss reignited the storm, deeper this time, hands exploring with the urgency of time borrowed. Her robe fell open, revealing lace that hugged her curves, and I traced the lines of her body with reverence, the soft swell of her breasts, the dip of her waist earned from years of holding it together. She gasped as my lips followed, tasting salt and skin, her fingers tangling in my hair. We moved to her bedroom, shedding clothes like old skins, the king bed welcoming us in a tangle of limbs and sighs. Elena was patient, guiding, her touches a map of experience, kisses that lingered on collarbones, fingers that knew exactly where to press. I learned her rhythms, the way she arched when I whispered her name, the quiet moans that built to cries muffled against my shoulder. It was messy, fervent, a release of pent-up longing that left us breathless and spent, curled together as the moon rose over the evergreens. But dawn brought clarity's edge. Sarah's car crunched in the drive at 7 sharp, her voice calling out as the door unlocked. We scrambled, me to the guest room, Elena to the shower, heartbeats echoing like accusations. Downstairs, Sarah hugged me tight, oblivious. "You two have fun?" "Mom looks happy." Elena emerged, hair damp, cheeks flushed, pouring coffee with steady hands. "We did. Alex is a gem." Our eyes met over the rim of mugs, a shared secret humming beneath the domestic normalcy. The day unfolded in a haze of unpacking, Sarah directing box openings, Elena's stealing glances that made my skin hum. By evening, as Sarah crashed early from travel fatigue, Elena slipped into my room, the door clicking soft. "Just to say goodnight," she murmured, sliding under the covers for a stolen hour of whispers and caresses. But secrets have a way of surfacing. The next morning, Sarah found the wine glasses in the sink, the faint scent of jasmine on the couch. "You guys get tipsy last night?" she teased, but her eyes narrowed at Elena's glow, my rumpled shirt. Elena deflected with a laugh, but tension coiled. That afternoon, while Sarah ran errands, she pulled me aside in the kitchen. "We need to talk to her."
Soon.
"I won't hide again. Not for my daughter." Fear gripped me, losing Sarah, the judgment, but Elena's resolve steadied me. "Together?"
Together.
Sarah returned with takeout Thai and overplates of pad CEW. Elena cleared her throat. "Sweetie, there's something important." The words tumbled out. Lila, the hidden years, the marriage's cracks. Sarah's fork stilled, shock widening her eyes, but no anger flared.
Mom.
"Why didn't you say?" "Fear," Elena admitted, voice breaking. "Of losing you." Sarah reached across, squeezing her hand.
You raised me better than that.
"And Alex." Her gaze flicked to me, piecing it. "Wait, is this why you've been weirdly glowy?" Heat flooded my face. Elena nodded, tentative.
Yes. We're
"Exploring, if you'll let us." Silence stretched, then Sarah grinned, teary.
about damn time.
"Just don't make it gross. She's my best friend." Relief crashed over us, hugs and laughter dissolving the last barriers. The house felt fuller, alive with possibility. Weeks blurred into a rhythm, Sarah back in Portland, me commuting for design classes, Elena's yoga classes filling with women seeking their own truths. Our nights were a secret world, dinners cooked side by side, hikes in the Olympics where hands intertwined on trails, lazy Sundays in bed with coffee and crosswords. But drama brewed when Tom called, slurring demands for the house deed, dredging up old wounds. Elena hung up trembling, and I held her as sobs racked her frame. "He'll never understand," she whispered. "Then we make our own understanding," I said, kissing her temple. We drove to the coast that weekend, Cannon Beach's waves crashing like catharsis. Under Haystack Rock, with gulls wheeling overhead, she burned the old letters in a driftwood fire, ashes scattering on the tide, a ritual of release. Back home, challenges mounted. Whispers at Elena's studio when a student spotted us at a cafe, my parents' awkward dinner where sidelong glances hinted at questions. But we faced them hand in hand, her strength bolstering mine, my youth igniting hers. One stormy evening, 6 months in, Elena knelt by the oak tree, ring in hand, a simple gold band etched with intertwined vines. "Alex Harper, well, if you'll have me, what do you say? Build this life, out loud." Tears mixed with rain as I pulled her up, kissing her fierce.
Yes.
1,000 times. Sarah officiated the small ceremony in the backyard a year later, friends and chosen family toasting under string lights. The house, once a blank slate, brimmed with laughter, photos of Lila on the mantel beside our own. In the quiet after, as rain pattered once more, Elena traced my ring finger. "I hid for years, but you brought me home." And in her arms, I knew we'd weather any storm.